Okay, and share my screen. Okay, so before we actually start, he did actually send a letter about that. It says, hello, Alan, I enjoyed looking at the Axum on the street competition entries and can say that there are 3 or 4 that would do well in inter-club competitions and perhaps even further afield. My comments are necessarily more brief than I would give them at a club venue. I hope members will understand that. I looked at the images on my Apple iMac 27-inch screen, so entries should have the best chance of being seen as entrants would wish them to be seen. Thank you for inviting me to act as judge. Regards, Peter Yo, FRPS. Okay, so that's the letter that came with the sheaf of notes. We have 28 images in both colour and mono on this from 14 members. So let's start off then. So number 1, 1 horsepower holds up to 100 horsepower. And that was by Joyce Wenyan. The comment was, a good title and an amusing reflection on 2 different ways of life and transport. If this were mine, I'd crop the lower part to where the white line exits the frame. Okay, and he scored that 15 marks. Number 2, street in Peyray de Mer. I've probably not said that correctly. That was sent in by Peter Spate. On my 27-inch screen, this does not look sharp anywhere, which is a pity. I wonder if a more interesting bit of street could have been found. The 4 manhole covers draw the eye, but they are not the most important part of the scene. Otherwise, nicely cropped, and the verticals are just as they should be. And that scored 12 marks. Wearing it with pride. This is by Steve Parrish. A good record of an event taking place out in the street, with participants showing pride in their outfits and themselves. Good and colourful, and sharp where it needs to be.
Alan?
Yep.
I have come up on my screen, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Right. So are you not seeing anything?
Well, but it's only small. I can't get it like on full view. I can see David at the top.
Oh, if you go up into the top corner and click view,
yeah,
and then you should be able to select a screen mode from it. Because I'm sharing my screen, I haven't got the same controls.
I've got standard side-by-side speaker, side-by-side gallery, swap video and shared screen, and full screen.
Full screen.
Side-by-side gallery.
Okay, I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Steve Parrish, that scored 17 marks. 4, street musician, Buenos Aires. This was Dave Neals. He actually looks as if it is playing, so that's a good start. The brightly coloured wall and parts of the door frame add colour and contrast well with his black clothing. I suggest cropping the back belt or strap on the right-hand wall, thereby also removing the white box or packet that have nothing to do with importance. And that was awarded 16 marks. Creating yourself. This is mine. Man obviously created himself, so there's no one to blame but himself. Good use of the motto in the shop window. And that scored 16 marks. Workman on the street.
Peter.
Oh, you spoilt it.
I'll tell you what, them men have done some work, Peter.
They have.
Makes a change.
A skillful blend of real street scene with toys. It almost looks real. Well done. And that's a holdback.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well done.
They knew it was yours, Peter.
Resting family. Market Day, Caracas, Peru. And this is Mary Fish. Perhaps these 4 women and their children are part of a family relationship. It doesn't matter if they are or are not. It is an excellent street scene, filling the frame nicely, well cropped and is really good. The subjects do not appear to be worried about being photographed. And that's a holdback. Can you keep a secret? Steve Dillon. Another good frame-filling shot of 2 people interacting naturally. Not an easy result to get, so well done. I like the vibrant colours and the out of focus background. That is also a holdback. St. Mark's Square. This is George Fiddler. This is typical of a busy day in the tourist season in Venice. Pigeons have no fear of humans in this situation, especially where there's food to be had. The lady seems to be happy to share her ice cream, whereas I wouldn't. I suggest a crop to the right of the tail fellows to cut out the man with the camera. 17 marks. Number 10, Blow Me a Bubble. This is Steve Parish again. I would have thought the child might be frightened of the spiky figure on the left, but it seems she's coping well. Dad certainly looks happy enough. Pity about the pram behind the subjects. And that scored 15 marks. Number 11, Beautiful Clutter. This is Ivan Sedgwick. No clue where this is, but it doesn't matter. What is important is that the photographer recognized an interesting picture and took it. The scene is set with a small bit of street, and then there's lots to look at. It scored 16 marks. Baker Street. Mary Fish. This station on the London Underground Railway has become a must-have shot, and I've seen many pictures taken here, and all are almost identical. This one is quite different from all the others, so very well done. I like the 2 people talking, but the icing on the cake is the lion appearing to give the figures a sidelong glance. Excellent. And that's a holdback. The Interrogation. Steve Dillon. A very good shot of TV journalists and their video cameraman going about their work, recording the interview. I especially like the facial expression of the woman dressed in blue. That's a holdback. 14. He's nailed the limbo. Author Ivan Sedgwick. I think the crowd have seen the incentive to do this correctly. Those look like 6-inch nails, just this side of his shoulders. So he really does have to get it right. Scores 17 marks. Where to next? Ken Sykes. There's plenty going on in this street scene. 2 women on the right-hand side seem to be in conversation. As per title, it would have been a good idea to correct the verticals and crop off the half woman. 14 marks. On Route 66. Author George Fiddler. Colourful, interesting, plenty to look at, but the really good bit is the gravestone. That scored 16 marks. The Panoply of Parasols. Dave Livesey. I like the colour, but there is a bit too much here, I feel. I'm not going to make too much of it, nor am I going to upset the converging by the converging verticals. It all seems okay in this case. 15 marks. Ghost Bus. Anthony Rhodes. A good title for a long exposure shot. But it's not only the bust, I think I should say bust, that has been blurred. Everything else, all the people and everything is made ghostly too. A good idea that hasn't quite come off. 14 marks. The Street to the Beach. David Livesey. This is really colourful, but to my taste, might have been made less colourful. It looks a wee bit too unrealistic, just over the top. The viewpoint is good, as is the positioning of the figures. 15 marks. Out on the Street. Keith Cawthorne. I love the expression on the face of the man on the motor scooter. The rest of the scene is good, but that face is great. 16 marks. Interesting book. Anthony Rhodes. It must have been a really good book for him to be sitting there on what looks like to have been a dull, perhaps wet day. The use of the lengthy exposure has worked well here. 15 marks. A bit of lad banter. Author Keith Cawthorne. The man on the left seems to have said something to the man on the right. He's not entirely happy about it. Judging by the size of the man on the left, it might have been wise to accept what he has been said. Very good. 16 marks. Sunflower Season. Joyce Wenyon. I don't know if there's any significance in this event, but it is a notice in the window about the danger of falling rocks. Caught my eye, interesting. 17 marks. 24. Backstreet Shops, La Boca, Buenos Aires. This is David Neal. Colourful and interesting, but not a very busy street. 14 marks. You don't see that every day. This is mine. Both men are looking something outside the frame. I'd be interested to know what caught their attention. The RAF officer wears the DFC medal ribbon, a highly regarded award for a pilot. The Army officer may be wearing a parachute regiment badge on his sleeve, but I'm not sure about that. Good shot of a reenactment event. 16 marks. A quiet cobble street. Ken Sykes. This looks to have been taken alongside Lincoln Cathedral. It is good, pretty contrasty, but the sky is good. Not great excitement, I'm afraid. 14 marks. A religious street, rather holy. I'm not sure who the author is of this. Oh, it's Peter Webster. Worth recording, but I suggest you don't give up the day job. You'll never make it as a comedian. 14 marks.
There we go.
And the last one, street underpass in Anglaise-sur-Mer. That's Pete Spate. An attractive and interesting viewpoint, and technically well photographed when you consider the large area of shadow and the bright highlights, all of which have detailed them for us to enjoy. The road leads around the corner, and I wonder what would be found if I were to walk there. Intriguing. And that's a holdback as well. And so that completes the first run through then. And there were 6 images held back. Anybody want to make any comments before we look at the holdbacks? Okay then, we'll carry on. So these holdbacks are in the order that they first appeared. So number 6, workman on the street. Well, you've had the comment already. Skillful blend of real street scene with toys. It almost looks real. Well done. And that scored 18 marks. Resting family, Market Day, Caracas, Peru. There's Mary Fish. And there was the comment, perhaps these 4 women and their children are part of a family relationship. It doesn't matter if they are or are not. It's an excellent street scene, filling the frame nicely, well cropped, and is really good. The subjects do not appear to be worried about being photographed. And Peter awarded that 20 marks. Can you keep a secret? This was Steve Dillon. Another good frame filling shot of 2 people interacting naturally. Not an easy result to get, so well done. I like the vibrant colours and the out of focus background. We awarded that 18 marks. Baker Street. This again is Mary Fisher's. This station on the London Underground Railway has become a must-have shot, and I've seen many pictures taken here, and all are almost identical. This one is quite different from the others, so very well done. I like the 2 people talking, but the icing on the cake is the Alliance apparently giving the figures a sidelong glance. Excellent. I think most of the ones you see tend to have 3 arches, don't they, rather than just the 2. Anyway, Peter was impressed. He gave that one 20 marks. The interrogation. This is another Steve Dillon. A very good shot of TV journalists and their video cameraman going about their work and recording the interview. I especially like the facial expression of the woman dressed in blue. And we gave that one 19 marks. And the last one, Peter Spate. attractive and interesting viewpoint and technically well photographed when you consider the large area of shadow and the bright highlights, all of which have detail in them for us to enjoy. The road leads around the corner, and I wonder what would be found if I were to walk there. Intriguing. And that was awarded 18 marks. So that was a summary of the holdbacks. 2 scored 20, 1 scored 19, and 3 scored 18. And working towards photograph of a month, Peter was left with those to choose which one to go forward against a mono image, and he decided that the resting family would be the one that goes forward from the colour section. So well done to Mary for that image. And in fact, if you hadn't realised, Baker Street was her image as well. So she's got the 2 20s for this colour section, which I'm sure if she was here, she'd be over the moon with. Right, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and give people a chance to make any comments or whatever.
I got a little worried when it was held back.
Why, it's growing your street cred. Sorry, that was a bit muffled. What did you say?
I don't trust the judges who give me a good mark.
All right. I shouldn't worry about the next section then.
All right then.
I just say, there's a little to Peter giving, I mean, it's a good photo. Miss Baker Street 20.
You're breaking up,
probably
Dan.
off.
Most
I think it was
people
great.
are. I don't know.
Yeah, not a very good, for some reason tonight, it's not a very good connection. I don't know.
Have you been able to hear me? Or?
Anyway,
No,
you're
you're
a
very
bit,
not good.
your tone keeps varying. But like I say, it's on Mary's Baker Street one, she cropped the feet off nearly.
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad he gave it to the other one. They're both good photographs, but I'm glad he gave it to the other one, not that one, because
as I say, I've seen that. Well, very similar images quite a few times. In fact, my brother who lives just outside London has taken it quite a few times, and everyone I've seen in the past has had 3 arches on.
yes, they usually do the 3 arches, yeah.
And very often there's people sitting on benches and things.
I've seen several in exhibitions, yeah.
Right, it's 8 o'clock. Do you want a break or shall I go on to the mono ones? Probably. What do people want to do?
You want 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a digital interclub digital competition, which is a week on Sunday, the 9th. They put this in because obviously we're not doing the print battles again due to the pandemic. But I haven't got any access details. It's being done on Zoom, but I haven't got any access details yet. So I'll send them to you, Alan, if they come to me, if you could send them out when we get them. As far as I know, there's no limit on how many can join. I've not heard anything at all. If I haven't heard anything by this weekend, I'll get on to Ron Abbott.
I think YPU, I think almost 160, I think.
Yeah, well, NEMP was like that. And there was 100 and something on the Sheffield one as well.
Oh yeah, Erica Oram won a trophy.
Oh, in your YPU?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on. Did you go on Talk at Grimsby on Thursday?
No, I had a Zoom rest last week.
Yeah. There was several on.
Yeah, well,
Pete
yeah,
and Linda were on, weren't you?
yeah.
And I think Alan Pinder was on.
Well, I've just sent details out of a pinchback thing for Thursday.
Yeah, I got those. Yeah.
we were on.
Right, okay, it's 6 minutes past 8.
Yeah.
Started. Okay, same sort of thing with the mono. So
It's been muted.
start, share my screen. So the mono images on the street. So number 1, concentration. Steve Dillon. This group of Chinese women look as if they're crocheting and need to concentrate hard, especially as they are standing up to work. I would recommend a crop to the right of the woman looking on. That will get rid of the partial figures that cause confusion. That one was scored 15 marks. Geezers. Author Keith Cawthorne. A very good title, especially in respect of the man on the right. He knows a photo has been taken and doesn't look too happy about it. A couple behind him might have been a safer bet. 16 marks. Film extras rehearsing. David Livesey. Those hats look as if the women are wearing them might have been able to see as well as one would hope, and may be in danger of wandering off into the nearby canal. Perhaps that's why they need to rehearse. It looks like Amsterdam to me, with tour boats and shopping signs.
Yes.
15 marks. Chattering on the corner. Peter Webster. The use of the toe figures is fine, but you must get the processing right. And this is far too flat and grey overall. 10 marks. Got his own back, Peter.
Yeah.
Queue for the shops. Ken Sachs. The idea to photograph some of the relaxation of COVID restrictions is a good one. I had to look quite hard to find the queues mentioned in the title. You really need to get much closer to show people lined up, perhaps with eager expressions on their faces. 12 marks. Reach for the stars. Steve Dillon. What an interesting statue. You don't get many statues wearing frilly underwear. One tiny point, you should have taken half a pace to the right so as to hide the bit of a post peeping from behind the right-hand leg. $16 marks. Bring me sunshine. Steve Parish. Eric Morecambe is in his hometown. The other man may also be a local, but his dress and pose suggest he may be in need of some of Eric's sunshine. Fills the frame nicely. 17 marks. Street cleaner and weeder. Parate. David Neal. A good picture that shows how hard it must be to clean such a rough and uneven road surface as this one has. If this is paid work, I think it must be backbreaking and probably poorly paid. 16 marks. A Kiss for the Bride. George Fiddler. A joyful moment, nicely captured. Good use of a wide aperture to blur the background. Good work and one for the album. If you know the bride. 17 marks. It works like this. Joyce Wenyon. Two men deeply involved in looking at the box. There's no clue as to what it contains, but certainly holding their attention. A lower viewpoint may have got rid of what the white tent in the background to good effect. 16 marks. An arresting glance. Stephen Parrish. Quite a good shot that might be improved by cropping up the flagpole, thereby removing a policeman who's partially covered by the flag. The two ladies would be much stronger image. 15 marks. The accordion player. Mary Fish. The man is looking at something outside the frame, suggesting he's playing on autopilot. Does he live rough? What looks like bedding by his left knee suggests that he might. Scores 16 marks. Earning a bit on the side. Anthony Rhodes. Another street musician, but this shot is much more cluttered. The bike wheel doesn't help, and the group of things on the pavement may not be his. Shot from straight on or to the right may have made a better shot. 14 marks. Lots of pots. Ivan Sedgwick. A good holiday shot with lots of interesting things to see and what is possibly a typical local building. It's good in black and white, but I wonder if it might be more appeal as a colour shot. 17 marks. Peacock Row at Robin Hood's Bay. Peter Spate.
Lovely.
This picture shows the attractive cottages and narrow streets that make Robin Hood Bay such a probably popular place for holidaymakers. I feel that the burning in around the edges has been rather overdone. 16 marks. Honouring the headscarf revolutionaries. This is mine. A very good record of those who honoured the dead from 3 fishing boat disasters. From the registration numbers, all the trawlers, I suspect that all 3 were from Hull. Excellent black and white work. And that's the first holdback. Happy family. Keith Cawthorne. The parents certainly look happy, but the child isn't quite so sure. Well processed, giving an excellent black and white image. That's a holdback. Street artist. Mary Fish. A good frame filling shot. No wasted space. An artist at work with his model and some finished work on the pavement. A complete story. And that's a holdback. The street to the beach. Ivan Sedgwick. Having been taken on an overcast day means there is no burned out highlights and no solid featureless shadows, aspects that I like. We are shown aspects of the hilly terrain and the past life of the village. It looks quiet and peaceful. 16 marks. Can I have a chip? Author George Fiddler. Gulls seem to have no fear of humans, and the wish for a chip is clearly shown by the forward-leaning body shape and the beady eyes looking at the hand. However, there seems to have been some serious processing carried out, and it has introduced quite a lot of confusion. The hand appears to have 6 fingers and 2 palms, and perhaps 2 arms. Furthermore, the bar the gull is perched on passes behind the hand and disappears, and another bar comes from the left at a different height and then fades away to nothing. All very strange and mysterious. The gull gets full marks, but there are processing problems. 12 marks. All by my junk. Anthony Rhodes. I have to say that the title is very good, and as it looks as if the man it has for sale really is junk, would buy only 8 spokes, half a wheel and no rim. The only thing that I might sell is the fireplace, an amusing picture. 16 marks. Quiet street where a pigeon sits. Peter Spate. On my screen, it's hard to discern the pigeon, and once you have spotted it, it's hardly the centre of interest. The scene is fine. 14 marks. Sightseeing. Ken Sykes. This must be a popular way of seeing a town, and it looks to me up by Lincoln Cathedral. The horse is clearly moving. Just look at the feathering on the front right leg. 15 marks. You can meditate anywhere, so it seems. David Livesey. 4 devotees engaged in meditation with appropriate signs for the activity. Not that poses suggest much activity. Pity about the bike. 15 marks. Delivery, Parati, Brazil. David Neal. Is this the same street we saw in an earlier shot? If so, the woman had done a great job. This is evidence of the way of life we have not seen in the UK for almost a century. Good. 16 marks. Take Britain. Joyce Wenyon. Just think how much better this would have been without 2 buses in front of the building. It is a building we need to see and have pleasure of seeing its details, shapes and textures. 12 marks. Mind your step. This is one of mine. Very well seen and recorded, and coupled with a good title. No need to say more. 17 marks. Parked in Park Lane. Peter Webster. Not the Park Lane we expect to see, but it's an amusing shot. Not great, but worth taking. 16 marks. Okay, that completes the 28 images for the mono section. So there were 3 holdbacks this time. So again, in order that they were identified, honouring the headscarf revolutionaries, that's mine. Very good record of those who honoured the dead from 3 fishing boat disasters. From the registration numbers of the trawlers, I suspect all 3 were from Hull. Excellent black and white work, and scored that 20. Happy families. Keith Cawthorne. Parents certainly look happy, but the child isn't quite so sure. Well processed to give an excellent black and white image. and that scored 18 marks. Street artist, Mary Fish. A good frame filling shot, no wasted space, an artist at work with his model and some finished work on the pavement, a complete story. And that scored 19 marks. So summary of the mono images was 120, 119 and 118. So the photograph of the month on the black and white section was mine, honouring the headscarf revolutionaries. So that left Peter with the decision of whether to go with the family photo in Peru or the picture from Hull, and he chose the picture from Hull. And it said, just read the end.
Alan?
Yeah. Yeah, I just read what Peter said. Numbers 7 and 12, that were the two colour ones, got 20 marks in the colour section. Of the two, I've made 12 best in class, which was the Peru one. In the black and white section, number 16 got best in class. I think it's also the best overall. It really does have a powerful story to tell. Okay, so that completes the section there. Did you want to say something, Dave?
Oh, I just said well done, Alan.
Oh, right, thanks.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, very well done, Alan.
Well done.
Congratulations, Alan. Well done.
If you actually see that on full screen, not in a PowerPoint, it's got a lot of detail. You can actually just see under her eyes. You can't see on this, but on the real image, there's a couple of air bricks under her eyes, which make it look like she's got some sort of makeup on her. Okay. Obviously, this is the last round of the Emily Penny Trophy, so I was able to put all the results in together, and we'll just go through the winners of each section and a summary. For those of you who don't know, the rules are that to qualify for the Emily Penny Trophy, the first criteria is that you've got to enter at least 6 rounds of the 12 rounds of 9 rounds available. So although we've had more people enter, there are only 13 that have met that first criteria. Once you've met that criteria, then there are 3 sections. There's a colour section, a mono section, and an overall result. And in each of those, the best 8 images that fit those criteria are chosen. So that then gives overall winners for those sections. So if I move on to this, here are the 13 people that completed 6 competitions. And you can see in the yellow column, most of those not only completed all 9 competitions, but entered 4 images for each one. And although the total score and the average doesn't necessarily contribute to the final totals, you can get some idea of what's gone on there. So Mary's top of the list with an average of 17.9, and she's got 6 20s going towards her final totals. I've got 6 20s and Keith has got 5 20s. Okay. And if we look at the points for the best 8 colour ones, we end up with that. So Mary has won the colour section with a total score of 157. So that meant that that's basically made up of, I assume, 5 520s and 3 19s. Keith is second with 150 points, and I'm third with 149. In the mono section, I've come top with 154 points. Mary's second with 150, and Keith and Dave Livesey have tied on 148 each. So it's Mary winning the colour. I've won the mono section, and so we go to the overall, which is the best 8 from, in the case of all these people, the 36 that they submitted during the competition, and it comes out like this. Is there a drum roll?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, look at that.
Whoa. Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Mary's two 20s and a 19 in this round. Just pushed her up and off, I think.
Want me to break the trophy for you in half?
Now it goes on count back then.
Well, anyway, that's the situation. I don't know what we do. You say count.
You go on count back, Alan. You take the top 8, right?
Well, it will be.
This came out of committee because one year Jean and I shared it. We decided after that if it was on the top, that was the top 8, and we would, after that we would go on count back. If we'd gone on count back the year that Jean and I shared it, I would have won it, but we both shared it. But we made.
If you're talking about count back, Mary's got 7 19s and I've got 4, so that presumably means she's won it.
So it on that it would go to Mary, yeah.
Right. So
You wanted to clarify that with George, but
I think you just have the